Real Madrid's Champions League run in 2022 is, in my opinion, the greatest Champions League run of all time. And if you guys don't remember what happened in this season, let me take you back. After finishing top of their group in the Champions League group stage, Real Madrid had to play against PSG in the round of 16. And you guys have to keep in mind that this PSG side was considered one of the heavy favorites to win the whole competition. They had the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Messi, Neymar, Verratti, Donnarumma, all in one team. This was seen as a super team that was unstoppable. And after losing the first leg in Paris 1-0 to a last minute goal from Kylian Mbappe, everybody thought Real Madrid was going to lose. And to make matters worse, Kylian Mbappe scores in the first half of the second leg to make it 2-0. At this point, everybody's convinced that PSG will take care of business. However, what happened in that second half can only be described as a miracle, because in a matter of 17 minutes, Karim Benzema puts the team on his back and scores a hat-trick to knock out PSG in the round of 16. All three of the goals he scored were brilliant, but the one that sticks out to me is the final goal to seal the hat-trick. The technique he uses to guide the ball first time into the bottom right-hand corner in the side netting where Donnarumma can't even reach, it was honestly perfect. It was a perfect finish. But ladies and gentlemen, this was just the beginning, because in the first leg of the quarterfinals, Real Madrid had to play against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. And what does Karim Benzema do? He bags another hat-trick and puts Real Madrid 3-1 up on aggregate. And after this game, everybody thought that the second leg at the Santiago Bernabeu was going to be easy work for Real Madrid. But that couldn't be further from the truth, because after 75 minutes, Real Madrid were 3-0 down and 4-3 down on aggregate. The tie had completely slipped out of Real Madrid's hands and the Santiago Bernabeu was silenced. But just as all hope seemed lost, Luka Modric provides one of the greatest assists in Champions League history, stroking the ball from the outside of his foot from over 30 yards out, giving Rodrigo a perfect pass to guide into the net. And after this moment, I think the whole world knew Real Madrid was going to win. And they were completely right, because in the 96th minute of this game, Vinicius Jr. finds Karim Benzema with a perfectly placed cross for Karim Benzema to finish it with a header. And just like that, Real Madrid were heading to Champions League semifinals for the first time in 4 years. But their opponent would be far from easy, as they were playing Manchester City, which at this point was regarded by many as the best team in the world. The first leg in Manchester was an instant classic, with Manchester City taking the lead 4-3. But with brilliant performances from Karim Benzema and Vinny Jr., Real Madrid still had a chance. However, the second leg in the Santiago Bernabeu did not go as planned, because after Riyad Mahrez scored in the 73rd minute to put Manchester City up 5-3 on aggregate, every single Real Madrid fan around the world felt instant heartbreak. And after this happened, the famous graphic came out. The graphic that said that Manchester City had a 99% chance of qualifying and Real Madrid just had a 1% chance. But in a Champions League night at the Santiago Bernabeu, 1% is all Real Madrid need. And the events that occurred in the dying minutes of this game might genuinely be the best moments of my life. In the 90th minute, Camavinga sends a ball into Benzema. Benzema squares it to Rodrigo, and Rodrigo taps it in. 5-4 on aggregate with 6 minutes of added time remaining. And then in the 91st minute, one of the greatest moments in Champions League history.
It's Carvajal's cross. Rodrigo! Oh, extraordinary!
Rodrigo off the bench gets a brace and sends the game to extra time. This was a miracle. And then 5 minutes into extra time, he gets fouled in the box and the ball is in Karim Benzema's hand. And who else but Karim Benzema to step up and take the potential game-winning penalty. And of course the man who was simply inevitable this season, the man with ice running through his veins, calmly slots the ball into the bottom right-hand corner and sends Real Madrid to yet another Champions League final. And in the Champions League final, the matchup was set. Liverpool versus Real Madrid, a rematch of the 2018 Champions League final. And just like every other Real Madrid game in this brilliant Champions League run, this game can only be described as a miracle, because the performance that Thibaut Courtois put in will never be forgotten. 9 saves in a Champions League final, and so many of them being in crucial moments. I genuinely believe that this might be the best goalkeeping performance in history. But on the other end of the field, the player who bags the winner for Real Madrid is none other than Vinicius Jr. It just had to be him. The player who represents modern-day Real Madrid. This goal was written in the stars. And that 1-0 win in Paris to seal their 14th Champions League perfectly represented what that season was about. Displays of individual brilliance like Karim Benzema, who in my opinion had the best Champions League campaign of all time. Miracles like Rodrigo's 2 last-minute goals against Manchester City to send the tie to extra time. This Champions League run confirmed one thing: no matter what, this team will always be the kings of Europe.